Over the weekend, as you know, I was totally disconnected from news and politics, but some friends of mine were talking about Trump and politics, and I was sort of just listening. And I started thinking that I would really respect the American right and the Trumpist right way more if they stopped making excuses for Donald Trump. And specifically, I'm talking about the racism and the xenophobia and the incompetence. And if they just said, you know what? Yeah, it's true. He is all of those things. But here's why I still support him. Because what I really am trying to get to here is that the pro Trump right has kind of twisted itself into pretzels with these completely incredible defenses of the things that Donald Trump has said and things that Donald Trump has done. And when it was simply bad policy, it was a little bit easier to hide the total impossibility of their defenses. So I'll give you an example. When Donald Trump passed tax reform with Republicans, and rich people said, we like this because it's going to be great for the economy. That's wrong, right? Like that's demonstrably wrong. But it's at least true that there are people who think tax cuts for the rich are good for the economy. So what they mean is these tax cuts are good for me, right? But they hide it as these tax cuts are good for the country, even though that's obviously not the case. Okay. When Donald Trump alienates another European ally, that's bad for us. But Trumpists can argue, I don't care because we've been taken advantage of by the European Union for too long. I like that we finally have a president that's going to hold them to account. Now, I would disagree with that. And lots of them are simply hiding behind the reality that they're simply ultra nationalist anti-Europeans. But at least they have some policy explanation for why they can pretend that Donald Trump is doing something that makes sense. But now, with the last 10 days, on top of the last 2 years, obviously, but the very acute last 10 days of the xenophobic and racist stuff that Trump has been ramping up with, the defenses are not even slightly believable. Trump's whole send her back thing wasn't racist because it was the crowd chanting, not Donald Trump himself. The entire attack on 4 ethnic minority congresswomen wasn't racist or xenophobic because Trump simply wants our country to be good, and he's criticizing anyone who said or did what they've done because he thinks that it's the wrong direction for the country. That's all that it is. It's not racist. It's not xenophobic. These aren't believable defenses, and these aren't respectable defenses. And I am saying, I'm actually speaking to the Trumpists right now. Very often on the show, I say, I know that there are Trumpists listening, but I'm not speaking to them. They're off the deep end. I'm speaking to the reasonable people in our audience. This is different. Okay. I'm actually speaking to the Trumpists here. I would respect you way more if you just told the truth. Okay. And for some of you, the truth is you're also racist and xenophobic. And that's why you like Donald Trump's dog whistles. Just come out and say it. Okay. Stop pretending. Stop couching it all as merely political rhetoric or strategy or a healthy version of nationalism or whatever. Just tell me, I think these things about minorities, and I believe Donald Trump agrees with me, and I like it, and that's why I like him. I would vehemently disagree with you. I would vehemently disagree with what I believe is a disgusting and self-destructive view of human relations on our planet, but I would respect you for just telling it like it is. Or for other people, they don't actually like the racist and xenophobic stuff, but they're playing along because they've calculated that Donald Trump is good for them in some other way personally. Like if you're a rich person who just got this massive, massive tax cut last year because of Donald Trump, just tell me, you know what? I am disgusted by what Donald Trump is saying. It is racist. It is xenophobic, but I'm going to ignore it because the tax cut is just so good for me. Or the trade stuff happens to be good for my personal financial interests or whatever. I'd think you were greedy at the expense of what's best for your country, but I would respect you because you're just telling me the truth. When Trump talks about caging children and criminal illegals, and Mike Pence turns his back literally on caged immigrants, don't play the I like this because I'm for strong borders, but I want legal immigrants here. Don't play the I see people as equal stuff. Just come out and tell me I like what Trump is doing with immigrants because I agree with him about we don't want people from S-hole countries here. I agree with Tucker Carlson that immigrants are making our country dirtier. Just tell me you don't like the brown people, or at least you don't think they're good for our country. I would respect you way more than when you pretend that there are concrete and sensible policy reasons to support this garbage. And I have breaking news for you. Increasingly, you don't even really have to hide that that's the case. I know there may be people in the audience who say, David's kind of right. I do just not want brown people here, or I do turn the other cheek because this actually is aligned with my nationalist beliefs or whatever else. Trump's running on this type of bigotry now. So just come out of the closet, okay? Stop pretending. Just admit why it is that you love it. And we can go from there, and maybe we can have some real conversations about why you hold these views instead of continuing to tell all of these completely absurd stories that, quite frankly, no one with any common sense should be falling for in terms of why you support or defend the actions of Donald Trump, because there are no actual conservative values that are being defended with this nonsense. You're either propping up your personal greed and a sort of what's best for me point of view, or you're propping up your own xenophobia and racism. I just want to hear you tell it like it is. When you call into my show, as Trumpists do, don't play the games of, Trump really didn't have a role in the send her back thing. He did try to stop it right away, which is a lie, which we'll deal with later today. Just say, I like it. I do want to send him back. Those are my politics. And then we can actually talk like real adults once we establish what our positions are. Get away from these ridiculous, unbelievable talking points.